Hi, I'm Sam Candy. Welcome to Sustain Talks. Today I'm joined by Hannah Lindsell and Meredith Brown from Caring Collaborative Coaching, and we are going to be speaking about menopause. I'm going to admit something here. I am going to be 48 years old in a few weeks' time, so this is very, very relevant to me. Most of my friends are going through or have been through the menopause recently, and in fact, 13 million women in the UK are currently in menopause, and menopausal women are the fastest growing demographic in the workforce. So I am delighted to be talking to you today. It is very relevant. Welcome. Hello, how are you?
Hello, Sam. Thanks for having us here today to talk about this hugely important topic. We're really grateful to be here.
It's good to have you here, especially. Tell me more about Caring Collaborative Coaching and how it all came about.
Thanks, Sam. Yeah, well, we wanted to create something that through Caring Collaborative Coaching that would really support a woman going through the menopause. So we know that it's this really natural stage in a woman's life, and yet women really, struggle over their menopausal years with finding, information that they need and with managing, their symptoms. And we just wanted to be part of making that better for women. And, for us, we thought that meant supporting women. And also, supporting organisations and making workplaces more inclusive for women, because we know that a lot of women going through menopause are in the workplace. And so we created a group coaching program for women, which allows women just space, really, because we're often so busy in our lives. It provides space for them to reflect on their menopause journey and to think about managing their symptoms and how could they manage them better, and what might even be getting in the way of them managing them better. And also it gives women an opportunity, in a small intimate group to interact with other women, going through menopause. And that can be really, really valuable, just to feel that you're understood and you've got the empathy of other women. And then on the other side, it's about working with organizations, and we really want to be supporting organizations to foster a more menopause friendly workplace, and that can be through training, supporting line managers, but it's really about starting that conversation that's just so important. It's about normalizing this conversation around menopause so that women can feel that they can speak up, and that they can get the support, that they need, and that support's available, to them, in the workplace. So that's really where it sort of came from. And we're obviously both going through our own menopause journeys. And like you were saying, we're seeing friends go through it, and, having their own struggles. And we just, felt that this would be a really great way to help women across the country.
It's a great thing. And, what was, I guess, years ago, a bit of a taboo subject now isn't. I said before in my introduction, there's 13 million women in the UK going through menopause. But let's just understand a bit more, some simple things. What's the average age that a woman goes through menopause, and, does everyone experience symptoms, and what are the symptoms?
So yes, every woman in the world will go through menopause, with a tiny exception of those that have their ovaries removed pre-puberty. Generally around about 45 to 55 years old. The average age that we will go through it is 51. Yes, every woman will start to experience symptoms. The menopause, interestingly, is actually only one day. It's 12 months since your last period, and everything in the run up to that is something called perimenopause, and that's generally sort of around 45. Your estrogen levels start to drop, and you start to experience the myriad of symptoms, which can be psychological, they can be physical, but certainly, yes, we will all experience symptoms, although it is believed that the statistics show that about 3 out of 4 women experience symptoms quite badly and in quite a debilitating way. So, I mean, that's an awful lot of women going through these really quite, and for quite a long period of time as well, to start to experience symptoms such as hot flushes, night sweats, joint pain. They're the kind of physical ones. Then we're sort of looking at the psychological ones, so anxiety, depression, low mood, something called brain fog, which is whereby you struggle to focus, concentrate, retain information. And that's just sort of a few of them. We know that there are 34 symptoms, which can be, just as I say, hugely debilitating and leave women really kind of struggling and feeling quite isolated. They can be quite subtle, and lots of people tell us it's quite hard to figure out really what's going on, and that's why coaching actually really lends itself well to supporting menopause, because you get that space and time to consider what's going on for you, have some headspace to work out what it is and also what it is that you want to do, and then be sort of supported by the group and the coaches to be challenged and enabled to see through those actions that will bring you back that balance and hopefully bring back that the way you were before and just make you feel like your old self again.
Yeah, I guess like when when you're sharing your symptoms and talking to other people that are going through it, then you know that you're not alone, and you know that other people are feeling those things. And even things like the brain fog, sometimes people might sort of look at you and think, what? And your mind is just not working at that moment, but actually other people understanding makes it a bit easier. Can you slow down the onset of menopause at all?
I'll answer that. That's a really interesting question, because we believe that genetics plays a really important role in when you're going to start your menopause. It's actually really important, if you can, to ask your mum when she started, because that will probably have quite an impact on your own journey and when it will start. As I say, scientists believe that there's also a role around lifestyle, exercise, also the diet also believed to play a part, and women all around the world actually have a different age start for menopause according, they think, to that. You can delay the onset. There is a medical procedure used very, very rarely, but scientists are looking into it. There's a really interesting set of research going on at the moment to see if we could maybe delay the menopause by 20 years. But there is a medical procedure. Yeah, exactly. There is a medical procedure that can delay it, but essentially, you tend to just manage it, and you can manage it with drugs, with medications such as hormone replacement therapy, again, lifestyle tweaks, holistically, naturally, sometimes with supplements and holistic treatments. There is a weaker evidence base for that approach, but also you could manage it through coaching. So as we say, each woman's journey is a unique one. It's bespoke to them, but by coming into a group coaching or a one-to-one coaching, you get to explore those symptoms and the impact they're having on you, and figure out what it is that you want to do about it to look after yourself.
Yeah, I have seen so much around menopause over the last couple of months. So you hear it on the telly. Why is there more attention to it?
Yeah, I think that's true, isn't it, Sam? We've really seen in the last 12 to 18 months real growth in seeing people speak really openly about menopause. And I think a number of really notable people have spoken out, such as Davina McCall and Meg Matthews, and this is really I think enabled women who've seen these other women speak up to gain confidence and be more comfortable themselves in speaking about their own experience, and and stepping forward to get support and help themselves. And I think that the other thing is that organizations are increasingly focusing on gender diversity. And, you know, they want to be attractive to women, and they want to retain, you know, their talented women, and they want to make sure women are taking up roles in senior positions.
Yeah.
And I think as awareness of menopause grows, organizations are realizing that there's an intersection between, you know, in a woman's life, between when they reach these sort of more senior positions and entering the menopause. And, you know, they're realizing that, well, you know, we need to support women at this time. And that's just growing this momentum and this voice. And actually, it's even being debated in Parliament now. And they're really looking at, well, you know, how can we educate GPs more? Because we know that GPs are really poorly educated around menopause. Can we bring it into you know, secondary school education? Can we get it in at the teenage level, that awareness? And really importantly, what are organizations, what do we expect from organizations? You know, what guidance should they be providing women? So, you know, this is all culminating, I think, in a real increased focus around menopause, which, you know, which is really great.
Yeah, it's true. When you think, you know, if you go back 20, 30 years, and now there are so many more senior women in the workplace, so of course it's going to come up so much more, because it's more noticeable. So companies really do need to get their heads around this and understand how they can help. I mean, I guess that's why it's being more popular at work. So what kind of things can people do in the office to address this and to have the conversation? Because it's also quite sensitive, so they need to have the conversation in a sensitive way, right?
So I mean, there are a lot of different
training.
Sorry, do you want to go, Hannah?
You talk about training and I can talk about the other bits.
Okay. So yeah, I think you're right. I think organizations are really sitting up now and thinking, right, you know, what's our plan for, you know, for creating this menopause inclusive environment? And, you know, they're thinking, you know, not just supporting menopausal women, but supporting everyone actually. And I think training is a part of that, you know, education and awareness, you know, across the office. What is menopause? What's the impact of menopause symptoms? You know, finding opportunities to start the conversation, supporting line managers, because like you say, it is quite a sensitive conversation actually, you know, for both sides. And so, you know, getting people comfortable with having those sensitive conversations, and then you can encourage the woman to speak up and come forward. So training definitely plays a part. I think it's probably wider than that as well. Hannah, I don't know if you want to say.
Yeah. So as Meredith said, you know, training up line managers, HR specialists around, you know, being that first point of call that somebody might want to talk about their menopause, but it's much wider than that. It's really important if you can train up the whole workforce, raise awareness, have them understand about the menopause and its impacts, so that, you know, it's an open culture and it can be discussed more openly. And it's also an informed culture that understands maybe what women are going through. So that's sort of one level, that, you know, the overall awareness raising piece, but also there's adjustments that companies can have. We know that 80% of women in the workforce believe that their menopause is impacting on them and work negatively. And we know that 1 in 4 consider leaving the workforce. And just for a few simple tweaks and adjustments that companies can make, such as, say, this awareness raising piece, training their line managers, but also just simple adjustments such as, you know, allowing women flexible working practices, so that if they're hugely fatigued or they've had a few really bad nights, maybe they could start a bit later, or they could work from home. Obviously the pandemic, everyone is working from home. We know women are really anxious about returning to the workplace, as in a way has allowed them to manage their menopause symptoms in private and at home. But yeah, just allowing maybe flexible working practice, and also just things like maybe a different uniform, having access to a fan or to a window.
Yeah.
Just really simple things that could prevent, you know, the 1 in 4 women considering leaving the workplace during their symptoms. But this can all be sort of wrapped up in a whole menopause policy or a menopause guidance, which we can support companies with developing in order just to become a more sort of menopause inclusive, menopause friendly space.
Yeah. And I think, you know, the big thing is that people need to feel comfortable to have the conversation and to say it. And, you know, we're not just talking about women here, we're talking about making men more comfortable to be able to have that conversation. It's a lot like the conversation with mental health. You know, you need to bring these things to the forefront so that people can say, you know, I'm happy to have this conversation with my staff member that might be going through that, and be understanding to it, you know.
And I think women sometimes are quite, you know, they're very hesitant because they're really worried. Well, if I come forward and start talking about how I'm feeling and what I'm experiencing, you know, what impact is that going to have? Are people going to treat me differently? Is it going to reduce the opportunities or hinder my career in some way? And so women are very hesitant, I think, to, you know, to come forward. And that's even before, you know, there's almost this expectation, at least in the past, that women, well, actually, they'll just get on with it, you know, and that, you know, there's no need to bring this up, just, you know, deal with it and keep going kind of thing. And then that is really, really changing. But I think women still need, there's that level of trust that has to be built up for women to feel, well, I can talk about this, and actually, you know, there's not going to be any negative repercussions from it.
Yeah, absolutely. So just the last couple of questions as we wrap up here. Advice to a company that wants to look at this further. What are the top things that they can do?
Yeah, I think you know, it's going to depend on the company, of course, and really tailoring it to the company and then the culture. But it's really important to be starting the conversation. You know, whatever you can do to start the conversation and get people, you know, comfortable doing that. So this initial awareness raising, you know, training, really, really important. I think also it's about showing women that, yes, we will listen to you. We want to hear from you. We want to hear how you're feeling. You know, we can put in place adjustments that's really going to support you, so you can stay in your role and feeling confident in your role. So I think it's like a two-pronged approach, really. You know, getting the woman to feel comfortable and raising that general awareness and education across the office. And what, you know, don't do nothing. I think, you know, don't sit and do nothing, because that's definitely not the way to go.
And then my final question, this one is for me, like, at what point do I go, it's happening, I understand, it's, you know, I should speak to someone, I should reach out to my colleagues and let them know, or what, how do I recognize?
I think that's really, I think that's just it. It's personal to you. It's totally up to you. I think one of the trickiest things in, as we reference this, is how creeping the things are. It's quite hard to know, you know, are you just having a bad day? You're just tired. Is it the pandemic? You know, and lots of women, actually, if they do approach their GP, they A, find it hard to document their symptoms, and B, they may be just dismissed with antidepressants. It's really common to be prescribed antidepressants, when actually, you know, and until you have actually stopped your periods, it's also quite hard to get it really, really checked out, because, you know, if you have blood tests to look at your hormone levels to see if your estrogen levels are dropping, actually, you know, on any given day, our hormones are going like this. So doctors are actually really reluctant to start that process until you can really document that you have a raft of the 34 symptoms. But yeah, it's just totally up to you. I think that there's ways and means of monitoring things, your symptoms, and just seeing, you know, is this it? You know, maybe having a conversation with female family members to see what age they went in. And just being aware, I think, is the most important thing, to know that it could be this, because lots of women don't know what's happening to them. There's a real lack of awareness out there that we hope is really going to build with this kind of this voice that's coming up about menopause, for people to be aware of these symptoms, given how many there are and how it affects every single part of our system. For you to sort of start you know, tracking it, is this it, and then obviously, you know, making the decision and being informed about what your options are if you wanted to start treating it.
I think what's really important is for women who, you know, who start to struggle, is that they talk to someone. You know, and like Hannah said, it can be a family member, it can be a friend, because, you know, just talking, just the act of talking it out can be really, you know, really useful and, you know, for women. So I think, you know, just being able to do that is a really good first step.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been hugely helpful for me and given me so much more understanding. I appreciate your time. People can get in touch with you on LinkedIn. They can find you there and connect with you, and you do training, coaching, everything for any companies that want to get in touch with you, or any people privately that want to get in touch with you and join the coaching. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and I'm sure my followers will too. And this has been really enlightening. Thank you.
Thanks so much,
Thank
Sam.
you, Sam. Thanks for having us.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.